announcements, and then there will be a few of us who will be speaking today. So starting Thursday, July the 4th, eligible individuals can carry concealed firearms without a permit in Louisiana and everywhere except in the city of New Orleans. Due to New Orleans Municipal Code 54-341, those carrying concealed firearms in New Orleans will still need a permit until August the 1st, when the ordinance expires. In preparation of the enactment of the new law, NOPD officers have been in mandatory training, learning what they can and cannot do so that they don't violate any person's constitutional rights against an illegal search and seizure. However, as our officers are being educated on the parameters of the new law, we encourage all gun owners to do the same, as there are facets of the law that will be enforced, such as negligent carry. Formerly incarcerated felons or those with court orders to not own a gun will not be able to carry a concealed weapon. Persons with alcohol levels above 0.05 or under the influence of drugs will not be able to carry. And you will not be able to carry concealed if you are within 1,000 feet of any school campus. You cannot carry a weapon at a parade or demonstration of which a permit is required or issued by a government entity. As well as you may not carry a weapon in a restaurant or bar that serves alcohol. The men and women of the New Orleans Police Department encourage all gun owners to responsibly carry and stay safe. We have prepared a public service announcement detailing what gun owners need to know, and it can be found on our website. Today, as part of our educational campaign for the public, we are announcing that the 8th District Station will soon fit the definition of a vocational technical school as described in Louisiana RS 1495.6, and thus the area within 1,000 feet of this district station will be a firearm-free zone. There will be signage warning people of such, and when this goes into effect, 1,000 feet will cover parts of Bourbon Street as well as much of the upper quarter. And now with that, I would like to bring up DA Jason Williams to speak more about the law. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Chief, for everything. First and foremost, I think everyone understands that guns and alcohol don't mix, they never have. Guns and hot tempers don't mix, they never have. Guns and crowds don't mix, they never have. This is not any injury to responsible gun ownership. This is all about responsible gun ownership. Working with the NOPD last year, we worked collaboratively to tackle having the title of murder capital of the world. We brought unique strategies to bear, and we reduced our numbers at a greater percentage than any other city in this country. I am so proud to be working with my partners at NOPD again to be creative and attack another unique issue, which is adding more guns to this highly populated, highly trafficked, highly liquored area, right? This is smart, this is creative, this is about surging back together. Having a school, again, years ago, my aunt actually used to work at the little schoolhouse down the road. A lot of folks in Baton Rouge thought that school was still operational. It's not. Having a school here at the NOPD where there will be continued training, not only is a great thing to use all of the laws that are on the books to protect people and to maintain responsible gun ownership on Bourbon Street, but it is also going to create this ripple effect of creating this new opportunity to make sure that we keep guns out of dangerous places. Again, this is no umbrage to responsible gun ownership. I can't thank Chief Kirkpatrick enough for her partnership and her leadership team's partnership. Her commanders have been working with my chiefs. Her captains have been working with my chief. Her ADAs have been working, my ADAs have been working with her detectives to make sure that we're looking at every law in the books to make sure that we get this right, to make sure that when we hit this summer, the hottest parts of the summer, when crime always goes up in the city, where violence tends to go up when it gets hot, we've come up with a strategy that I believe is going to keep people safe on Bourbon Street. And I'm thankful not only to Chief Kirkpatrick, but also to Jessica Dietz and Cops 8, who have been an extension of the New Orleans Police Department, acting as partners to make sure that we hear from the voices of the residents, because it's still a neighborhood, too, and businesses of the French Quarter. I want to thank Council President Moreno for making sure that city leadership is continuing to invest in my office and the police department so we can continue to surge back and have the highest reduction in crime numbers of any other city. And I want to thank one of my ADAs, a volunteer ADA, Mars Barton, who heard me a few years ago when I said we did not have enough women and men to surge back at the amount of crime that we were facing right after the pandemic. Buddy stepped up, not just on his own, but with the entire team of his lawyers who helped us screen gun cases, so that we could deal with the problems that we were seeing. And now, again, he has invested in helping us stand up a school in the French Quarter to surge back at this unique time. Buddy, I can't thank you enough. And this is not a gotcha moment. We're not trying to trick anybody here. There's going to be signage everywhere to make people aware of what they can and cannot do. Guns and crowds don't mix. Guns and alcohol don't mix. Don't bring your gun to the French Quarter. Leave it to the fine women and men of the NOPD to protect you. Thank you.
Excuse me, I believe then that now we're going to have Mr. Bott himself, and I'll hold the sign for you. Excuse me.
Well, thank you. In my other role as a volunteer ADA, I've had the opportunity to screen in the past year and a half over 350 gun cases, gun arrests out of the French Quarter. In that time, I and my team have acquired somewhat of an expertise in the problem of guns, and it's a quite simple philosophy. It's never a good idea to bring a loaded gun into a crowd of drunks. That's basically what it boils down to. We have tremendous pride in the French Quarter. It's a jewel of New Orleans. We need to protect that. The men and women of the 8th District NOPD have done a fabulous job in keeping us safe. I'm very proud of Jason Williams and the DA's office for what they are doing in aggressively prosecuting these cases and giving me and my team the opportunity to do a public service and help New Orleans, the city I love. And this school that will be in the 8th District will not only provide an added resource to the New Orleans Police Academy in training their officers, but it then provides this zone of protection, this 1,000-foot radius around the school, which will extend roughly the first 5 blocks from Canal to Toulouse Street, the first 5 blocks of Bourbon, Royal, and Charter Street. So tremendous protection on Bourbon Street and in the Upper French Quarter. Very proud of it, very proud of the NOPD, of the superintendent, very proud of Jason Williams for what he has done, over this way, what you have done, and very proud of Helena Moreno, who has worked so closely on this on behalf of the city to make this a reality. Thank you.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. As some of the media here already know, there has been great concern over this legislation regarding permitless concealed carry for quite some time. And the reason why we are all here is because we certainly understand that in the city of New Orleans, we have a gun violence problem. And we have worried that this permitless concealed carry law will actually make the situation much worse for us. We have already heard, law enforcement, not only obviously here in the city of New Orleans, but across the state, really sound the alarm and say, hey, this particular law, we worry at the end of the day could make it harder for police to get illegal firearms off of our streets. But actually, we also worry that this could put law enforcement officers' lives in danger. So what we've also heard is that in other areas where similar laws have been enacted, law enforcement agencies there have already said that these laws have been detrimental. I want to give you all an example of Memphis, Tennessee. This is in 2022, a statement I'm going to read after a shooting that happened on Memphis's Beale Street. As you all know, Beale Street is like a very popular street, it's similar to Bourbon Street. And there was a severe shooting that happened there. And after the shooting, the Memphis Police Department said this: since the enactment of permitless carry by the state, there have been more firearms readily available on the streets across the state of Tennessee. Additionally, this change in the law has proven to be a hurdle for law enforcement and public safety. As you all know, Chief and I, along with Chief Gernon, Chief Dupree, we all went up to the legislative sessions. We were there during the special session, and we were there during the regular legislative session, trying to voice our concerns to members of the legislature and trying to initially get an exemption for this permitless carry law for the entire city of New Orleans. But we also knew that if we couldn't get that, that we wanted to protect the areas of our city where we had the most dense crowds. One of those areas happens to be, of course, the French Quarter. And the reason why we were focused on the French Quarter is because we worry that when there is a shot fired, several shots fired, because of the density of these crowds, you have the possibility for many people to get injured or killed. Unfortunately, as you all know, and many of you all were up there in the legislative sessions with us, you know that we were not successful in getting any type of exemption. And I'll tell you this, legislators were telling me, sorry, Helena, I guess you're out of options. And some of you even said that they worried that there could be tragic consequences. But I can tell you this team that you see behind me, we were not just going to sit back and say, oh, well. We were going to figure out some kind of path to find some type of solution to protect the people of New Orleans, the people who live in the French Quarter, the people who come to work in the French Quarter, and the people who come to visit in the French Quarter. So we started a lot of research. We started looking at all different options. I want to thank Morris for all of the diligent research that you did. Chief Gernon, Captain Roberts, thank you so much for listening to my crazy ideas on, Sunday evenings, random evenings when I would say like, well, what about this, Morris? I know you had to hear a lot from me as well. Thank you to the district attorney for bringing in his team. Thank you, Chief, for allowing this type of collaboration, because at the end of the day, we said we knew we had to think outside the box, and we knew we could find a solution. We were all committed to this, and ultimately what we realized was, you know what we need is a school. And if you go back actually and listen to some of the comments from legislators, what they would constantly do is they would put up this map that had a whole bunch of school zones all throughout the city, and they would say to us, you don't need a permitless carry exemption because look at all the school zones you already have in the city of New Orleans. So bottom line, we're going to have a school here now in the 8th District, which of course is going to be, a fantastic move that'll benefit the NOPD, but of course it's a tremendous public safety measure as well. So we're still working on a few more things. One is updating the map of the firearm zones. We're working with City Planning Commission and IT to do that, working on a few permit things. I want to also thank Sadie in my office, who I had her spinning around in circles trying to figure out how to make the signs, and work with Captain Roberts to get the signs done. But this has been a really collaborative effort in a way that we have been able to think outside the box to solve a major problem, and I'm just so grateful for the team that you see behind me. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. I believe now I'm turning to Reese and others. Do you want to have questions at this point? Okay. Okay.
Pat Trumquist, what kinds of training will be offered at this location?
Well, for those of you who don't know, we do actually have a training room upstairs that can seat between 25 and 30 people. And so we have actually even been doing like the training, the mandatory training of the new laws. And so we are an agency that does do and focus on training. We think a training department is the best department in the country. And so we can do all kinds of classroom types of behavior or training upstairs.
So this isn't new, it's just declaring the school zone around
We're going to
existing training centers.
we're going to have more regular scheduled training here as a satellite site. So that's our intention is to make it a regular training site as a substation, if you will, to the police academy, which is over in the 3rd district.
Chris Walton, Barclay?
Was this plan sort of always in your back pocket, so to speak, or did it take a lot of research to get to this point?
Well, I'm going to, as you can see from Council President Moreno, this has been something that has been diligently, kind of collectively looked at as a problem. And I think actually the Council President said it the best, that when we were unsuccessful at Baton Rouge, then we didn't stop. We looked for other pathways. And so it was a collective approach to finding that pathway.
WWL?
So just for clarification, the municipal code put into effect just kind of delays the permitless carry until August 1st, is that correct?
Well, the current law expires August 1, associated with requirements to carry with permit. So starting July 4th, you would be able to start, but the other law does not actually expire until August 1.
All the way to the back? When will the schools open and will only officers and future officers benefit from the training?
We've already started it. So because we are mandating that every officer, I already went through the class myself, just like, for instance, a 2-hour class. One of our DAs here and Sergeant Barnes, who's our legal instructor, they have a course, and so we've already started. So we decided to just get going.
And Chief, if I could, we can
Yeah.
provide some pictures to you as well of Chief of Screening Andre Godin and First Assistant Ned McGowan working with Sergeant Barnes, delivering this information, working and training officers so they understand the effect of new laws, the application of old laws, and how this all play out. So this is already working in earnest. This is more for the public to understand the rules of engagement when you come to the quarter.
Back over to Carly.
Hi, Carly, the concern is people are going to leave their guns in their cars instead of bringing it to the border. Are y'all going to be stepping up patrols or doing anything in parking lots to prevent burglaries?
Well, that is always a concern, and we've been addressing this for several years now, as our auto burglaries have kind of dropped really significantly. So that is something we are aware of. 8th District is well versed in dealing with that and patrolling those areas that have parking lots.
Missy, in the back?
Yes, good morning. So there's been a number of murders in the first quarter this year, kind of a lot. It seems like I think 4 or 5 murders so far. What do you attribute this uptick in murders in the first quarter, and what are you doing about it, and how will this help?
Go ahead.
We have seen an increase from last year, obviously. At this point last year, we're at only 5 murders. So yes, we have seen that. Some of those have been, unfortunately, not intended to be their target and just an innocent bystanders. We've had some issues around Bourbon Street as well, on the side streets, as was the one yesterday. So we do plan on working with our people, with our officers and detectives to kind of secure that a little bit. I'll be sending more assets down here for Essence and July 4th, and as well as the state troopers sending some officers down here as well, in addition to Troop NOLA.
Yeah. Just wondering, is there a plan to establish schools in any other police districts, or is it just strictly for the 8th and the 3rd, obviously?
Right now, for purposes of what we've been discussing, it will be here.
Yeah, just a quick question. Is there going to be any noticeable change in physical plan here, or is this just basically a change in designation to this being the training area?
Well, thanks to Cops Aid again, and Jessica Dietz is right over there, and she's the president of our Cops Aid. They invested in helping us with this particular facility. So it's upstairs is our classroom, and they provided wonderful tables and chairs and updated that upstairs so that we can do very effective training. So it's, you wouldn't have seen it, but it is actually upstairs.
Yes, so this vocational is kind of a workaround to get away from this permitless carry law. Could we be seeing this in other areas that are in the entertainment district for New Orleans?
I wouldn't call it a workaround. It's using and applying laws that have always been on the books to deal with a current and real threat to public safety. This is not a workaround. Everyone behind this podium believes in responsible gun ownership. This is not about taking anyone's rights away. So I wouldn't call it a workaround. This is using all the laws to the best that we can to make sure this area is safe.
Could that be used other places though for the entertainment district?
We plan on, and I think Hans just said this, we're going to use all the laws on the books every place we can to make the whole city safe. Right now, this press conference is about this particular area, but we've got a sworn obligation to the entire city.
Thank you, everyone.
Real fast, if we could, this was a very violent weekend in the city. Operation Clean House just ended last week, and we saw this uptick in crime. What are you all doing to address that as we do go into, as in 4th of July weekend? I know crime is, of course, everyone's.
So the Operation Clean House was a month-long operation, dedicated a lot of assets to that, as well as federal and state, and our local police. So we plan on continuing these operations. This is not a one-time operation and it ends. We have other plans in the works as well. We started changing our strategy with, targeting specific areas where violent crime was occurring, and that started in 23, continues on, and we've had an uptick, yes, but we will reset and we'll look at those areas, and once we identify who those perpetrators are, we're going to be taking them off the street.
Thank you so much for coming out, y'all.
So you know there's already some schools.
I hope it's not too long. They want you to stay in traction for a real long time.
No, I was in it for like 6 months.
At least my wife, my wife's not no longer doing SpongeBob.
Reese,